Do you have a parade of people constantly asking, well, what do I do about this? Or what do I do about that? Maddening, isn't it? And time-consuming. Watch this short video to learn a simple approach for compelling those around you to think for themselves. I'm Bob Windover. Have you ever wondered, well, why don't they have any common sense about somebody in the office with whom you work? Of course, it can be argued that there's no such thing as common sense. What we're really talking about here is the ability to think critically. And that would include everything from solving problems to assessing and evaluating situations to conducting research, writing reports, that type of thing. Then there's the ability to interpret communication and nonverbals of the people around you. But that's a topic for another video. In one recent study, the Council for Aid to Education tested 32,000 students on 169 university campuses across the U.S. They found that 4 in 10 students graduate without the complex reasoning skills to manage white-collar work. The skills they tested included things like the ability to read a scatter plot and construct a cohesive argument or identify a logical fallacy. Most troubling was that even if there was a notable growth in these skills over the 4 years, many students are starting at such a low point they may still not be proficient at graduation. Is it any wonder that employers continually complain about new graduates who lack the basic attributes to thrive on the job? Maybe you're one of them. But there's no purpose here in casting blame. These students are the products of the influences around them. Policymakers who endlessly debate assessments and testing and dollars for education and so on are missing the point. It takes a community to help young people learn these skills. And that's you and me and parents and individual teachers, the supervisors on the job, the leaders in the community, and everyone else who touches these lives. Most people don't have an inbred desire to seek out the experiences to learn life's critical thinking skills. They must be compelled to do so. Several years ago, I wrote a book entitled Figure It Out, because that's what my parents would say when I asked them to solve a problem or deal with a situation they knew I could figure out on my own. While I initially thought, well, that's not fair, I would eventually learn how to resolve the issue on my own. Now, upon reflection all these years later, there were 2 great things that came out of these experiences. First, I developed new skills for solving problems and dealing with others. And second, each time I was successful, I developed a little more confidence that I could solve related issues. And over time, I matured into a darn good problem solver. But I had to grow a little bit each time, and as a wise person once asked me, have you ever grown without discomfort? Perhaps you've had the same kind of experience. Sadly, many of today's emerging workers have not had that nurturing as those in previous generations. Now, I'll stipulate that this nurturing was far from perfect. But with all the digital distractions and evolving family structures and social promotion in schools and conflicting messages about right and wrong and other factors, these emerging contributors have had a far different experience when it comes to developing the problem-solving skills required to navigate work and the rest of their lives. Of course, we could have a big discussion or maybe even an argument on all this, but the bottom line is that those entering the workplace today do not necessarily possess many of the basic skills employers used to take for granted in any applicant. So, what do? The next time one of them comes to you for an answer, don't give it to them. Tell them to figure it out. The outcome will be discovery and knowledge and confidence. One of my favorite techniques for doing so is to think aloud. So instead of providing an answer or making the decision for them, say, I'll tell you what, let's think this through together. How should we begin? While they may feel a bit uncomfortable at first doing so, with some encouragement, they'll learn to think more critically on their own. You just have to be consistent in taking this approach. Once they understand that you're going to do this every time they come to you with a situation they should be able to resolve themselves, they'll start taking the initiative without involving you. Now, if they don't, you're probably going to face a bigger challenge with them in other ways of managing them. Now, I'll be the first to acknowledge that having the presence of mind to do this in the midst of cram-packed days can be difficult to do. But here's the thing. If you don't compel those around you to think for themselves, you will spend endless time thinking for those around you. And who wants to do that? How do you resolve this challenge in your workplace? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell so you'll be notified when I post more practical content just like this.